Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, the Home Office has decided it's going to spend £10 million a year of taxpayer money on some, well, at the pay level, a very junior position, but with the responsibility of quite a senior position. And I'm going to suggest a reason for it after we go through the thing. So stick with this. It's not going to be a very long video, but I just want you to get to the thought of why they're doing it at the end. So they want to have these new things called Asylum decision makers. They're going to have 300 of them, paying them around £30,000 a year. So it's £10 million a year in salary. Well, actually, it's a lot more than that because they're going to pay them nearly 30% of that towards their pension. I know, nice work if you can get it. And what they're going to do is they're going to get these people to plough through the backlog of asylum claims. Now, we're going to spend £10 million a year for these people on £30,000 a year. It's not a great salary, right? Let's be honest, it's not a brilliant salary. Not once you paid your taxes and everything. And then these are the people that are going to be making the decisions on whether someone stays or goes. Now, I would suggest that decisions on whether someone has the right to stay or not should be made by senior officials who are paid a lot more than £30,000 a year. That's entry level. And they think, I think there's something beyond this going on. Now, the role requirements, the key skills, we're going to go through what the key skills are. And they say, are you inquisitive? The role requires getting to grips with policy and guidance, including a lot of reading. Do you enjoy individual learning and formulating arguments and decisions based on extensive research? Do you like getting into the detail, often drawing on information from a wide range of resources? Now, let's go through that. Individual learning. In other words, you're going to be left alone. There'll be no oversight. You won't have anyone to talk to. Based on extensive research, i.e. you've got to look it up. You've got to understand things. Do you like getting into the detail, often drawing on information from a wide range of resources? In other words, guesswork. In other words, when an individual comes here and tells you a pack of lies, the decision whether to let them in or not is going to be yours. But remember, it's going to be your decision. The buck stops with you, not with the higher-ups. They're negating responsibility. Are you emotionally resilient? In other words, can you put up with the bullshit that you're going to hear and not go down and cry? Can you remain empathetic and professional while dealing with potentially traumatised individuals on a daily basis? Potentially traumatised? Well, it was a bit of a rough sea when I came across. Where's the girls and money? Can you process information and work at pace? In other words, we need this backlog done quickly, and we don't care how you arrive at your decisions, so long as you arrive at your decisions quickly and cheaply. Are you IT literate and able to multitask? I.e., are you a jack of all trades, a master of none? Can you type shit into a computer, and can you shove a broom up your arse and clean up as you go along? The ad, it says, also is at pains to state that equality, diversity and inclusion are at the heart of the asylum operations. In other words, we don't want white people. So we're going to have 300 jobs to assess asylum into this country, and we don't want white people to do it. Bada bing. Now, why are they paying these people so little? Why are they offering it to a junior position? It's so that these predominantly young junior type roles they'll be worried about their job, and they'll be told, make sure you hit your rota, your targets. We need to get as many in as possible on proper asylum decisions. And then when they come in and say, well, the asylums were approved. Yes, by people on minimum wage, very young, inexperienced people who were frightened for their job on minimum wage. And that, of course, is what it's all about. Now, this is the negation of responsibility. This is the Home Office wanting to clear a backlog so that they can say the backlog's been cleared. And they effectively want to let as many in as they possibly can because it all fits with Starmer and his plan to destroy Britain, its heritage, its culture, its history, and, race replace the British people. It's all part of that plan. It goes against what the United Nations says about native populations should be considered superior in terms of laws and rights and everything. We're not being consulted on it. Nobody's saying what the job, because you can guarantee this will be official secrets and you won't be allowed to show what your contracts are and things like that. They're not saying what the criteria are for approval or denial. It isn't going to be anything like that. It'll be a job for non-white people, which is mentioned because it's a DEI there, and it will be for, like I say, people with a target-driven mindset, shall we say, as many as you can. And then when there are tens of thousands brought in, but they're all brought in legally, and the government can say, well, they are legal, and it won't be the fault of the Home Office. It will be, well, we've assessed them and they've gone through the proper assessment channels, blah, 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 blah. And that's what's going to happen. And whether these people come from France, Germany, Albania, quite a lot of them, Eastern Europe, or from France predominantly, I'm presuming, an awful lot of French people, an awful lot of people from France, don't you think? Because it'd be wrong to target any particular race. It's all racist. We know it's not a racist thing at all. It's a status thing. People seem to think, the moment you say immigrant, it's a racial thing. It's not. It's a status thing. Immigrant is a status. But when you're allowing them in for any reason whatsoever, without knowing who they are, have they got their documentation? I mean, basically, if they haven't got documentation, you should say no. And if they're coming from a safe country, you should say no. You can't have asylum from a safe country, can you? It's pointless. But that's not how it's going to be seen. No. I think it's going to be very political. It will be directed from very senior officials overseeing from a great distance on high. That's why the, working on your own thing, making your own decision, but being told exactly what your decisions should be. Not formally actually told, though. It will be implicit, very implied what your decisions would be. Possibly with the offer of bonuses, for example, for hastening through the tickets, because it'll be implied that if you deny them, then it'll have to go to a court case, and then they'll have to appeal, and that's a very time-consuming and expensive. You get the drift. And that's, I think, how this is going to turn out. Let me know exactly what you think, whether you agree with it or not, whether you agree with me or not. But there is certainly a better way to deal with the status of people than that. Thanks a lot. Bye.